Welcome back, hyenas. So I was browsing Twitter as I do for 12 hours a day, and I noticed that Druski was trending on Twitter. If you guys don't know who Druski is by name, I'm sure he'll probably look familiar as I throw some images up. He is an internet personality, like an Instagram comedian. He's done skits that have gone very viral.
What do you mean by that?
He's been on Kai Cenat's stream with Kevin Hart and is also affiliated with a bunch of other celebrities, just sort of doing goofy stuff on the internet. Now, anytime I see a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer trending on Twitter, it usually means bad news, and so I look into it, and I find out very quickly that the reason that Druski, this YouTuber for all intents and purposes, is trending on Twitter is because people are making memes and jokes and references to the fact that evidently Druski has been named in one of the allegations levied against P. Diddy.
You ever been to one of Diddy parties?
Yeah, I've been in attendance. Hey, what the f you smirking for?
How you saying that?
I've been in attendance.
He just asking regular
That's all
questions.
I said. That's all I said. I said I've been in attendance. I have been in attendance.
We never been. We just asked him.
We just
Yeah,
asked.
yeah. As soon as you asked, he said,
You had fun?
I ain't seen that.
"Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had fun. Yeah, I mean, it was a party. I wasn't at one of them parties.
Oh, we ain't say nothing about no party.
Now, obviously, when I first heard about this, I immediately thought that it probably wasn't true. Now, I don't know Druski that well, but he doesn't exactly come off to me like one of the A-list level Hollywood celebrities that you would typically associate with being associated with P. Diddy, or even being famous enough to attend one of these Diddy parties. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he's basically just an Instagram comedian, but it only took a few minutes before I remembered that there was a viral clip of Druski going around from a video released like 4 years ago where he was at P. Diddy's house doing a whole little sketch comedy thing that featured P. Diddy.
Don't mind if I do. I wouldn't.
Okay, fine. Maybe I was wrong. It's not like I can keep tabs of every single person who's ever made a funny video on the internet ever. It's not like it's quite literally my job. Maybe Druski is more famous than I thought. Some sort of industry plant has interior connections to the celeb world that I was completely unaware of. This still feels a little bit silly. I mean, again, he's basically a nobody in the grand scheme of all of the big celebrities that have been named under P. Diddy. And then I saw that Druski put out a statement quite literally as soon as people started talking about this, which I thought was a bit of an overreaction for what I still assumed was like a weird, sick joke people were making. This allegation is a fabricated lie. I wasn't a public figure in 2018. I was broke living with my mom without any connections to the entertainment industry at the time of this allegation, so the inclusion of my name is truly outlandish. My heart breaks for actual victims of abuse, but I'm fully confident that the evidence will expose the falsehood and the individuals who are meticulously trying to game the legal system to peddle false narratives. Now listen, I'm not a cop, I'm not a lawyer, I'm just a dude on the internet who, for whatever reason, through sheer coincidence by the nature of my job, has read through a number of public statements that people have put out in an effort to try to defend themselves against heinous actions that they're being accused of. And this one really sounds like it was written by a lawyer. At this point, I've had enough of reading what other people have to say about the matter and decided to take a look into what they're actually talking about. Let's see if any of this is anything more than one fabricated image that people are making a meme out of. So I find the clip that people are sharing around Twitter, and it reads, number 77 of this alleged court document that has been released naming him, instead of immediately plaintiff, defendant Druski doused plaintiff with more oil and lubricant and then jumped on top of plaintiff's naked and oiled body, treating it like a slip and slide and knocking the wind out of plaintiff due to his enormous size. The needle in my head swinging back and forth between this is some sort of sick joke and this might have some credibility to it is about to break off of its hinges, because while this does look like an official court document, this is the most ridiculous thing I have ever read in my life. People on Twitter, of course, are not the most detail-oriented folk. The second that they learn any piece of gossip that sounds like it has some merit to it, or even if it doesn't have any merit to it but is funny enough, are just going to spread it as if it's fact. And just full disclosure, I believe it is fact, but that didn't stop anybody from making jokes about Druski being at these Diddy parties, or the fact that he took the opportunity when ordered by P. Diddy to do something heinous and unforgivable to this drugged woman, instead took the time to make a joke out of it. And the fact that it points to his enormous size and using a term like a slip and slide does sort of take away from the seriousness of what looks like an official court document. I'm sure people who didn't look any further into this thought that this was some sort of joke, that somebody had doctored an image in order to just take a shot at Druski for God knows what reason. That's definitely what I thought when I first saw this. So naturally, it's time to do my due diligence. I decide to try and find the original court document that this thing seems to have come out of. I find a number of articles that are released talking about the fact that Druski has been named in this allegation alongside P. Diddy, and then find the linked 87-page long court document that has all of these allegations in it, and I read through the entire thing. Long story short, Druski is named in this, and this excerpt that we read out just a minute ago is real and is from that court document. And B, if you're thinking of taking the time to read through this 87-page long court document, don't. Heed my warning, this thing reads like the script for a Saw movie. It is genuinely horrible and has ruined my day. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version of what's in these 87-page documents, because you probably didn't click on this video to not learn about the story behind why Druski is named in this thing. So the alleged victim goes out clubbing, some guy gives her a hard time, and then one of P. Diddy's associates comes to her rescue, and then FaceTimes P. Diddy in an effort to sort of flex the fact that he has celebrity connections. The woman is unimpressed with his association to P. Diddy, even claiming as to the fact that P. Diddy must be associated in some way to the murder of Tupac Shakur, so she does not like him. P. Diddy hears this, being surrounded by his kids at some sort of get-together that he's having, is upset at her dismissive tone of his presence, and tells her that she will pay for claiming such a thing. Some period of time later, that same man calls her and invites her over, claiming that he's under cancer medication and is too weak to open his medication and needs her help. She shows up, they drive around in his car, and at some point, P. Diddy crashes this house that she's visiting with a bunch of his associates. P. Diddy then allegedly holds a knife to her face, claiming that she never thought that she'd see him in real life, did she? And then proceeds to do what P. Diddy does best, or is best known for, which is horrible and unspeakable acts to this woman, and then also proceeds to demand that each of the associates that he came with, including Druski, also do these same heinous and unspeakable acts to her. The rest of the document reads like a dramatized novella. At some point, the woman regains consciousness and goes out to the backyard to find Druski, P. Diddy, and his bodyguards all smoking weed in the backyard. At one point, one of his bodyguards gets upset when P. Diddy claims that he did have something to do about Tupac and holds a gun to his head. She's holding a knife that she had tucked out of the bedroom the entire time, and then later attacks P. Diddy, but before actually stabbing him, sees that he's pleading for his life and decides instead to just run for it, at which point outside, after a number of gunshots and calling the police, everything starts to dive down a little bit. The entirety of the court document is available for public read. If you want to go search it out and read it, feel free. But the main takeaway I think about this is that, aside from the very serious nature of everything that is alleged and accused of P. Diddy and his associates in this court document, is the fact that Druski, the YouTuber in all of this, is only mentioned in about 2 paragraphs. One in the slip and slide thing, and then one where he proceeds to the alleged victim. And even with the context of the other 86 pages of this document, still feels so incredibly cartoonish and out of place. Like, maybe everybody on Twitter did actually read this entire thing, because even with all the details to your knowledge, this still feels so incredibly out of place. Like, who does that, bro? There are a number of clips and conversations of Druski looking uncomfortable in situations where people are making jokes about P. Diddy. A number of people online have pointed to the Mafia-thon, the big subathon that Kai Cenat had, where him and a few other people were making jokes about P. Diddy, and both Kevin Hart and Druski looked relatively uncomfortable. I even showed a clip from a podcast that he was on earlier in this video, but there's a number of other things that definitely show that Druski has been friends with P. Diddy's sons and even P. Diddy from as early as at least 2001, so who knows what kind of associations he might have had in 2018 when these alleged actions in the court documents took place. But of course, at the end of the day, this is all for the legal system to do its job and take care of whether or not any of this is true, has repercussions, and bring these people to justice. I am not here to tell you who is guilty or who isn't. I am not a judge, nor do I have all the information aside from what's been made public, but I did think it was worth taking the time to put a bit of an explainer and context to this one little paragraph that people are sharing online, because it does look extremely unbelievable and completely unserious if that's all you read. Even with the context of the entirety of the court document, it still seems pretty ridiculous, but it's real. It is an actual alleged thing that is a real court document to the best of my knowledge, so I figured an explainer was probably worth your time. That being said, if you enjoyed watching this video and want to keep up to date on internet news and memes, remember to hit the subscribe button. A big thank you to the patrons scrolling behind me, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.